Hey, you've been lied to. Not by some shady corporation, not by a politician, by every teacher, every textbook, every news anchor who ever told you economics is too complicated for normal people. It's not. In fact, the entire economy, every recession, every price spike, every job boom runs on about 7 basic ideas. And by the end of this video, you will understand all of them. Welcome. Let's go. Section 1. The big picture. What is macroeconomics? Here's the simplest way to explain it. Imagine your town is a school cafeteria. Microeconomics, that's the study of small-scale economics, watches one kid decide what to buy for lunch. Macroeconomics watches the whole cafeteria, all the kids, all the food, all the money, at the same time. That's it. Macroeconomics is just the study of the economy as a whole, across an entire country, or even the whole world. It doesn't ask why your rent is expensive. It asks why rent is going up everywhere. It doesn't ask why one company is hiring. It asks why the entire job market is shrinking. The 3 big things macroeconomics tracks: output, how much a country produces; prices, how fast things cost more; and jobs, how many people are employed. Everything else connects back to those 3 things. Section 2. The economy is a loop. Here's something most people never realize. The economy isn't a straight line. It's a circle. Think of it like a water pipe. A company pays workers. Workers earn income. Workers spend that income at other businesses. Those businesses then earn money, pay their workers, and the cycle continues. This loop has 3 main players. Households, that's regular people. We work, earn, and spend. Firms, companies, they produce goods, hire workers, and invest. And government. It collects taxes and pumps money back into the system through spending. When all 3 are active, the economy grows. When one of them pulls back, the whole pipe slows down. That's why a single shock, like a pandemic, can slow everything at once. One pipe breaks, and the whole system feels it. Section 3. GDP, the economy's scoreboard. So how do we actually measure how well the economy is doing? Enter GDP, Gross Domestic Product. It sounds intimidating. It's not. GDP is just the total value of everything a country produces in a year. Every car built, every haircut given, every software license sold. It all counts. But here's the catch most people miss. There are 2 versions of GDP. Nominal GDP counts everything at today's prices. The problem? If prices go up, GDP goes up too, even if no more stuff was actually produced. Real GDP fixes that. It adjusts for price increases so you can see true growth. Example, say a country's nominal GDP grows 10% in a year. Sounds great, but if inflation was 8%, real growth is only about 2%. Big difference. And one more number to know, GDP per capita. That's GDP divided by the population. It tells you the average economic output per person. A rough measure of living standards. 2 countries can have the same total GDP, but if one has 5 times more people, its average citizen is doing way worse. Section 4. Unemployment, the hidden cost. GDP going up is great, but if only a few people are benefiting while millions are out of work, that's not a healthy economy. Unemployment measures the share of people who want a job but can't find one. There are 3 types, and they matter very differently. Frictional unemployment. This is normal. Someone quits their job to find a better one. They're unemployed for a few weeks. No big deal. Structural unemployment. This one stings. It happens when an entire industry changes or disappears. Factory automation kills manufacturing jobs. Streaming kills video store jobs. Workers need to retrain, and that takes time. Cyclical unemployment. This is the dangerous one. It happens when the economy itself slows down. Companies earn less, so they hire fewer people, so people spend less, so companies earn even less. A spiral. One more thing worth knowing. Full employment doesn't mean 0 unemployment. Economists actually expect around 4 to 5% unemployment even in a healthy economy, because people are always switching jobs. When unemployment drops below that, it often means the economy is overheating. Section 5. Inflation. Why your dollar is worth less today than yesterday. Everything costs more than it did 5 years ago. That is inflation, and almost nobody understands how it actually works. Inflation is not prices are high. Inflation is prices rising continuously over time. Your dollar slowly buys less and less. Think of it this way. In 2000, you could buy a movie ticket for around $5. Today, often $15 or more. Your $20 bill hasn't changed, but what it gets you has shrunk dramatically. Economists measure inflation using the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. It tracks the price of a standard basket of everyday goods: food, rent, gas, healthcare. If that basket gets more expensive, inflation is rising. Now, inflation has four main causes. First, demand pull inflation. Too many people trying to buy too few things. Economy booming, wages high, people spending freely, prices go up. Second, cost push inflation. It gets more expensive to make things. Think oil price spikes or supply chain chaos. Companies pass those costs to you. Third, monetary inflation. When the government prints too much money, more dollars chasing the same amount of goods. Each dollar loses value. Fourth, and this one is wild, expectation inflation. If workers believe prices will rise, they demand higher wages. If companies believe costs will rise, they raise prices now. The belief itself makes inflation happen. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The sweet spot? Around 2% inflation per year. Low enough that prices stay manageable, high enough that the economy keeps moving. Section 6. Fiscal policy. What governments do with money. The government has two economic levers: how much it spends and how much it taxes. Together, these are called fiscal policy. Think of it as the government's gas and brake pedals. During a recession, the government presses the gas. More spending, lower taxes. This pumps money into the economy, supports jobs, and keeps people spending. This is called expansionary fiscal policy. During high inflation, the government hits the brake, cut spending, raise taxes. Less money in circulation helps cool prices down. This is contractionary fiscal policy. But here's the tricky part. When governments spend more than they collect, that's a deficit, a budget deficit. That gap gets funded by borrowing, issuing government bonds. Over time, those deficits stack up into national debt. And debt isn't automatically bad, but if debt grows faster than the economy does, interest payments eat up more and more of the budget, leaving less for schools, roads, and healthcare. That's when it becomes a problem. Section 7. Monetary policy. The central bank's power. Now, meet the most powerful financial institution most people don't fully understand: the central bank. In the U.S., that's the Federal Reserve, the Fed. It doesn't set your salary, it doesn't control gas prices directly, but it controls the base interest rate. And that affects everything. When the Fed raises interest rates, borrowing gets expensive. Mortgages, car loans, business loans, all more costly. People and companies spend less. The economy slows. Inflation cools. When the Fed cuts rates, borrowing gets cheap. People spend more. Businesses invest more. The economy speeds up. Interest rates also shape stock markets, real estate prices, and global investment flows. When U.S. rates are high, investors worldwide move money into dollars. When rates are low, they seek higher returns elsewhere. One modern tool you should know: quantitative easing, QE for short. When cutting rates isn't enough, central banks can directly buy government bonds and other assets to inject money into the financial system. The Fed used this massively in 2008 and again in 2020. It stimulates the economy but carries inflation risk if overdone. The Fed is supposed to be independent, meaning politicians can't call them up and demand lower rates before an election. That independence keeps inflation expectations anchored. Section 8. Business cycles. The economy's natural rhythm. Here's something comforting. Recessions are normal. Every economy moves in cycles. Expansion, things are growing, jobs are plenty, spending is up. Peak, the economy maxes out. Contraction, growth slows, businesses get cautious. Recession, 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. Recovery, the bottom is found, spending returns. A recession officially starts when GDP shrinks for 2 quarters in a row. Unemployment climbs. Consumer confidence drops. People hold on to their money. And that holding back makes everything worse, which is why downturns can spiral fast. Recoveries happen when confidence returns. governments stimulate spending, and central banks lower rates to make borrowing cheap again. The 2008 recession? Triggered when the U.S. housing market collapsed, banks nearly failed, and lending froze. The 2020 recession? The fastest on record, caused by COVID-19 lockdowns stopping the economy almost overnight. Both recovered. Economies always do, eventually. Section 9. One more thing people forget. Here's the uncomfortable truth no one tells you in school. All these systems, inflation, GDP, unemployment, debt, they're connected. Tug one string, and the whole web moves. Low unemployment often means higher inflation. Lower interest rates often mean higher debt. More government spending in a recession can cause deficits that haunt the economy for decades. There is no free lunch in macroeconomics. Every policy has a trade-off. And now you know enough to see those trade-offs for yourself. 3 things to remember. GDP tells you how much an economy produces. Inflation tells you how fast it loses value. Unemployment tells you how many people are left behind. Everything else is just levers governments and central banks pull to try to keep those 3 things in balance. If you want me to go deeper on any of these, the Fed, recessions, the debt spiral, drop a comment. Write debt if you want the national debt video next. Subscribe if you want more of this. No fluff, just the stuff that actually matters. See you in the next one.